Case 1. The Terror of the Monster with 21 Faces. Japan. We begin in Japan, 1984. At the time, Japan was enjoying an economic golden age. However, that comfort was shattered in a single night on March 18th. 3 masked, armed men burst into the home of Katsuhisa Izaki, the CEO of Glico, giant food corporation that manufactures the famous snacks you probably still eat today. Izaki was kidnapped straight from his bathtub, bound, and taken away. The kidnappers demanded a ransom of 1 billion yen, but this is where the real mystery begins. Before the ransom could even be paid, Izaki managed to escape from the warehouse where he was being held. Case closed. No, this was just the prologue. A few weeks later, a mysterious group calling themselves the Monster with 21 Faces began sending letters to the media and the police. These letters weren't written with fear. Instead, they carried a mocking, sarcastic, and incredibly confident tone. They ridiculed the Japanese police, calling them stupid and incompetent. But that mockery turned into national terror in May 1984, when the Monster sent a letter that sent parents across Japan into utter hysterics. To the mothers of Japan, inside the stores, we have mixed lethal cyanide poison into Glico candy products. If you don't want your children to die, do not touch the candy. Imagine the panic that ensued. Millions of candy boxes were pulled from store shelves nationwide. Glico's stock plummeted, and thousands of workers faced layoffs. Police inspected thousands of stores, and shockingly, they actually found several boxes of candy with homemade warning labels attached. Danger, contains poison. Inside, they tested positive for deadly cyanide. The Monster didn't stop there. They began extorting other food companies, including Morinaga. The Japanese police deployed 40,000 personnel. They distributed a composite sketch of a man captured on a store's CCTV camera, wearing a baseball cap and possessing eyes described as fox eyes. Yet the fox-eyed man was always one step ahead. By August 1985, the terror had been going on for over a year. Public pressure was immense. The superintendent of the Shiga police, Shoshi Yamamoto, felt deeply humiliated and ashamed of his failure to catch the Monster. In a dark, traditional act of accountability, he set himself on fire and burned to death in his own backyard. And here comes the biggest plot twist of all. Upon hearing the news of the police chief's suicide, the Monster, with 21 Faces, sent their final letter. It sounded like a cold message of condolence, combined with a final farewell. Yamamoto died like a man. We decided to give our condolences. We decided to stop tormenting these food companies. If we continue this, many innocent people will become victims. We are bad guys, which means we have other things to do besides bullying companies. It's fun to live as a bad guy. Goodbye. After that letter, they vanished. Completely disappeared. No more poisoned candy. No more mocking letters. Who was the Monster with 21 Faces? Were they disgruntled former factory workers? Were they a Yakuza syndicate? Or a high-level conspiracy? By the time the statute of limitations on the case expired in the year 2000, not a single person had ever been arrested. They committed the perfect crime, toyed with an entire nation, and then walked away the moment they got bored. Case 2. Horror at Hinterkaifeck, Germany, 1922. If the previous case was about psychological terror on a national scale, this second case takes us to a remote location in Bavaria, Germany, in 1922. A farmstead called Hinterkaifeck, a place where the line between true crime and a supernatural horror movie becomes incredibly thin. Hinterkaifeck was inhabited by the Gruber family, Andreas Gruber, his wife Chazelia, their widowed daughter, Victoria, their 2 grandchildren, and a maid. The farm was extremely isolated, surrounded by dense forest. A few days before the end of March 1922, Andreas Gruber told his neighbor about something strange. Something strange enough that it should have made him pack his bags and leave immediately. Andreas said that after a blizzard cleared, he discovered footprints in the snow. The footprints came from the direction of the woods, walking straight toward his farm, right up to the back door of his house. However, when Andreas inspected the surroundings, there were no footprints leading back to the woods. The owner of those footprints had entered the house, but had never left. Over the next few nights, the Gruber family began hearing heavy footsteps coming from their attic. They also mysteriously lost their house keys and found a strange foreign newspaper on their porch that they had never purchased. Their old maid even chose to quit her job out of sheer terror, swearing that the house was haunted. On March 31st, 1922, a new maid, named Maria Baumgartner, arrived to start her job. Ironically, Maria's very first night on the job would be the final night for everyone in the house. Over the next few days, neighbors grew suspicious, because the Gruber children hadn't been to school, and the mail was piling up. When local residents finally decided to visit the house on April 4th, they discovered a sight that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Inside the barn, 4 bodies, Andreas, Cecilia, Victoria, and her young daughter, were found stacked on top of each other. They had all been bludgeoned to death by a sharp tool to the head, later identified as a pickaxe or mattock, belonging to Andreas himself. Meanwhile, inside the house, the new maid and Victoria's infant son were found dead in their beds. The autopsies revealed horrifying details. Some of the victims did not die instantly. Little Cecilia survived for several hours on the straw in the pitch black, pulling her own hair out in shock and agony before finally drawing her last breath. However, the most chilling detail of all was only uncovered when the police conducted the crime scene investigation. The killer didn't leave immediately after slaughtering 6 people. Based on physical evidence, the killer lived in that house for several days, alongside the corpses of his victims. He lit the fireplace, cooked meals in the kitchen, ate the Gruber family's supply of bread, and most inexplicably of all, he calmly fed all the livestock in the barn so they wouldn't starve to death. What kind of person can slaughter an entire family, then sleep in their beds and cook in their kitchen while the bodies of the homeowners rot just a few meters away? To this day, hundreds of suspects have been questioned, but the mystery of Hinterkaifeck remains frozen beneath the German snow. Case 3. The final moments of Lars Mittank, Bulgaria, 2014. Let's leap into the modern era, the year 2014. This is a case whose footage some of you might have already seen on the internet. The story of Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old German man who is healthy, normal, and had absolutely no history of mental illness. Lars went on vacation with his friends to Golden Sands, a popular resort in Bulgaria. The vacation was going great, until one night, Lars got into a minor altercation with a group of other tourists over a football dispute. As a result of the fight, Lars suffered a ruptured eardrum due to his condition. The airport doctor advised Lars not to fly for a few days because the cabin pressure could worsen his injury. Lars's friends had to fly home first for work commitments, leaving Lars completely alone in a cheap hotel near Varna Airport, Bulgaria. This is where the darkness began to creep in. As soon as his friends left, Lars's behavior flipped 180 degrees. He was struck by extreme paranoia. In the middle of the night, he called his mother in Germany, whispering in absolute terror. Lars told her that 4 men were following him and trying to kill him. He begged his mother to block all of his credit cards. On the hotel's CCTV cameras, Lars could be seen pacing up and down the corridors anxiously, hiding inside the elevator, and appearing terrified of something that the camera couldn't capture. The next morning, July 8, 2014, Lars went to Varna Airport to see the airport doctor, wanting to confirm if he was cleared to fly. Airport CCTV recorded Lars entering calmly, carrying a large backpack and his yellow suitcase. He entered the doctor's office. According to the doctor's testimony, Lars appeared nervous during the examination but was still able to communicate normally. However, everything changed when an airport construction worker walked into the room to deliver some documents. The moment Lars saw the worker, he suddenly stood up. His face went pale. He screamed, "I don't want to die here. I have to get out." Watch this CCTV footage. Lars runs out of the doctor's office. He leaves his backpack behind, leaves his phone, leaves his wallet, his passport, and all of his money. He runs as if the Grim Reaper himself is gripping his shoulders. He exits the airport terminal, sprints across the parking lot. And here's the strangest part. In front of the airport stands a 2.4-meter high barbed wire fence, separating the airport grounds from a dense forest outside. Without a moment's hesitation, Lars scales that barbed wire fence, leaps down to the other side, and walks straight into the thick Bulgarian forest. And that was the very last moment Lars Mittank was ever seen alive. Since that day, Lars has vanished without a trace. A massive search operation was launched using tracking dogs, helicopters, and dozens of volunteers. No clothing, no tracks, and no body have ever been found. Did the antibiotics Lars was taking trigger a rare psychosis that caused him to hallucinate? Or was his fear completely real? Was there actually someone or something chasing him? Something that could only be seen through Lars's own eyes? 3 cases, 3 different eras, yet they all share the exact same thing. They leave us completely in the dark. The monster with 21 faces, who vanished into the shadows of Japanese society. The Hinterkaifeck killer, who lived peacefully among the corpses of his victims. And Lars Mittank, who ran into the forest and never returned. The world is full of neat stories with clear endings. But sometimes, reality is far wilder, darker, and more mysterious than even the best fiction. What do you guys think? Out of these 3 cases, which one gave you the biggest goosebumps? And what is your theory about what actually happened to Lars Mittank inside that doctor's office? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit the like button. Share this video with your friends who love a good mystery. And make sure you're subscribed and have turned on the notification bell so you never miss Another mystery story from around the world. Stay alert, check your back door tonight, and I'll see you in the next video.